Hi gents, confession time. I taped this video originally, and I did it without the microphone on. So I'm now trying to narrate over the top of it. So it's going to appear a little bit disjointed, but hopefully it will still work. So this lesson is about mixing up the 7 different scenarios that we've done in previous lessons and making them mixing them up so that you can answer the questions all at the same time. So it doesn't matter which one you're given, you should be able to answer it. So there's 7 different scenarios. So we've got first one on the right and the next one below a value. So obviously on the right you just read it straight off the table. Below a value you have to find the value from the table, and then you have to add +5 to it. From the right is that's the values above a value. So the table will give you the white area, so you have to take away the table value from 0.5. On the left is basically the same as on the right, and so you just read it straight off the table. And from the left is very similar to from the right. It just happens to be that the Z values are negative. So you find out the area of the white area, and you take that away from 0.5 to be left with the red area. So these are all things that we've done before in previous lessons. And the last one, on both sides, you get a negative Z value and a positive Z value, and you take that away. You add them together. And the last one, the two tails, it's the same as both sides. You find the areas both sides of the mean, and then you take that away from 1, and that gives you the area in total. So the next stage is trying to put that all together so that you could be given 3 of these questions and work out which one you need. And really it's the diagram that tells you what to do. So the steps don't change. First step is draw a picture, calculate the Z-score, look it up in a table, and then write your probability in context. So we've got a question here. John found the height of Year 11 students to be normally distributed with a mean of 176 and a standard deviation of 5. So our question is, find the proportion of Year 11 students that are between 176 and 182 centimetres, more than 170 and more than 185. So obviously there's 3 different types of questions there, which will need to do 3 different answers. So you'll need to go through the steps for each of the questions. And it's really important you don't try to shortcut this, because it is the only way until you've done enough practice to be really comfortable. So the first part is draw the picture. So we know that the mean is 176. We know the standard deviation is 5. Looking at our question, we know that 176 is the mean, so we don't have to worry too much about that. But 182 is the other Z value. So it's the area to the right we're trying to work out off from the mean. So it's 182 because it's bigger than 176. So the next step, calculate the Z-score. There's our formula. So Z is equal to 182, take away 176 over 5, the standard deviation, which is equal to 6 over 5, which is 1.2. So then from the table, we need to find 1.2. So 1.2 for the first decimal point, 20 for the second decimal point, and there's no third decimal point. That gives us a probability of 0.3849. And because that's the only area we need, then the only area we need, we can just write it up. There's no further calculating to do. So the probability that x is greater than 176 and less than 182 equals 0.3849. The last step, write the probability in context. The probability that a Year 11 student is between 176 and 182 centimetres is 0.3849. So that's that question done. So the important thing is following the steps to get your answer. So our second question is looking for more than 170. Our mean and standard deviation are the same with 176 and 5. We are looking at more than 170. So step one, draw the picture. Mean is the same. Standard deviation is the same. 170 is less than 176. So it must go to the left. And we want the area more than 170. So that means it's this area here, as well as 0.5, which is everything above the mean. So again, the diagram tells us how to do our calculations. We must go 0.5 plus the extra area that we get from the table. So next step, calculate the z-score using the formula. So it's 170, take away 176 over 5, which is minus 6 over 5, which is minus 1.2, which might be familiar to you from the previous question. We find it in exactly the same place on the table, so 0.3849. And because it's negative, it doesn't matter, it's symmetrical, so it's the same. So negative 1.2 is the same as positive 1.2. Okay, so write out the probability. Probability x is greater than 170 is equal to 0.3849, which is the area from the mean, plus 0.5. Which gives us 0.8849. So fourth step, of course, write your answer in context. The probability a Year 11 student is taller than 170 centimetres is 0.8849. So moving on to question 3. What proportion of Year 11 students are more than 185 centimetres? So first step, as always, draw a picture. Our mean and standard deviation hasn't changed. It's always important to make sure you draw a picture for each question. Don't be tempted to try and include more than one question on the same thing. 185 is larger than 176, so it's to the right. we want to know more, so we're actually looking at the tail area. So the table doesn't give us the tail area, it gives us from the mean, which is the white area. So if we work out the white area and take that away from 0.5, we will get our answer. So remember that half, everything from the mean above is 0.5. We take away the white area, we're left with the red area. So again, step 2 is calculate the z-score. Which is 185 take away 176, which gives you 9 over 5, which is 1.8. Third step from the table, (1.8) 0 gives us 0.4641. So the probability x is greater than 180, or 185, sorry, is equal to 0.5 take away 0.4641, which gives us a probability of 0.0359, which is that red area. And now the fourth step, the probability of a year 11 being taller than 185 centimeters is 0.0359, which gives us our answer. So here's a summary of how we did it. So 3 different questions and 3 different methods. So the first one, the right of the mean. The next one is more than on the left, and the last one's a right tail. So you've got to be comfortable interchanging between those questions. But really it's the picture that helps us explain what we're doing. Okay, so hopefully that voiceover worked, that it's fitted the video well enough. There's questions on your lesson page which you need to complete.